So what is the best strike and expiration for overnight swing trading? Overnight swing trading is about trading the overnight gap. You've seen it. The market closes at one point at the end of the trading day and opens either up or down the next day. That's the gap. It's one trade overnight, an overnight swing trade. Many overnight swing traders like to amplify that move with options. And so the question is, what is the best day till expiration? What's the best delta strike price? What is the best combination for more consistent wins? I'll share my best practice opinion based on my experience as well as AI analysis in a moment. But first, let me explain the different parts to this combination so you have a better understanding as to how we came to this conclusion. Our goal is to be as consistent as possible using good risk management, understanding your risk tolerance. How much can you handle in terms of drawdowns? Do you get over exuberant when you win, and do you get depressed when you lose? What is that range that you're comfortable with so you can take this on long term? The fact is, the best traders often risk less than 5% of their high risk portfolio. Actually, most of them range between 1.5–2% per trade. But that depends on how big your high risk portfolio is. It's 500, 1,000 enough? Well, maybe not if you want to risk $100 overnight. So that would be a 10% risk of $1,000. So you probably want to make sure you have at least $2,000 in your high risk portfolio if you work on the high end of a 5% risk overnight. And with that said, $100 just may not be enough to buy the option delta and the date to expiration that you prefer. When it comes to options, there's in the money and out of the money, and 50 delta or minus 50 delta for puts is generally about the in or out of the money mark. And so if you want to be in the money, that means that your option actually has intrinsic value. If you're out of the money, it's potential value. So it costs less, but it's also riskier. If it's in the money, it has some base value, but it's going to cost more for your overnight trade. Day to expiration works in a similar way. One day to expiration is much riskier, but can offer much greater reward and loss. But if you go further out, you'll have less risk overall immediately, yet you'll have a lower increase if you're right and a lower decrease if you're wrong. So one day to expiration offers the most opportunity for gain. You can gain 100, 150, 200% regularly. And you can also lose 50 or 100%. Now, you can't lose more than you put in, and that is the nice thing about this style of options trading. The tough thing about options is there's this thing called theta, or time decay. Think of it this way: if the market doesn't move at all, you will actually lose money. The market has to move at a reasonable amount for you to make money. Now that could be 0.15% or 0.2% or 0.25%, depending on the option you're trading, such as SPY, QQQ, or IWM. And the thing is, one day till expiration options have a very high theta, meaning if the market doesn't move at all, you're probably going to lose about half your money. So a further out day till expiration has a much less theta, or time decay. So that can give you a more conservative approach. But again, those 1 days are really highly active. But we're still looking for those big opportunities. So we have to ask ourselves, well, if 1 day to expiration has a high theta, what about 2 or 3 days? That's where 2 or 3 days to expiration, or even 4 days to expiration, may be a better approach, just because theta percentage overnight is not as drastic as compared to the 1 day till expiration. It gives you a little more buffer, a little more leeway with 2 and 3 days till expiration when available. Another part of this equation is to consider buying an option just in the money, maybe a 55 delta or a minus 55 delta if you're buying puts. It all depends on your signal. Now, of course, we use the spytomorrow.com signal, but you can use any signal you want. Having an option with a little intrinsic value means there is value to that option and the time decay and slippage isn't as great. Yes, it could fall out of the money if the market goes completely the opposite direction of your signal, but it won't go down quite as fast. And many signals have confidence numbers or probability numbers like we do at SPY Tomorrow, and that gives you a sense of how confident you can be with that signal. And if you're kind of seeing a 50-60% chance of success, you may want to place a hedge. So you could buy maybe a 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 options ratio. You could do this by buying 3 calls at the 55 strike price and maybe 1 put at the negative 55 delta strike price. That way you have this 3-to-1 options ratio, and if the market goes the opposite direction, well, you could minimize your losses or actually gain if the market completely tanks or flies through the roof. You can also use delta as part of your ratio trade. For example, if your signal said up, you could buy a call at 50 delta and a put at negative 25 delta. The thing with options is that there's always give and take. The more conservative you are by being more in the money, obviously, the more expensive the option will be because it has intrinsic value. The further out you go in terms of days until expiration, the more it costs to buy that option because there's more time on your side. 1 day to expiration, great opportunity for a lot of money, but you could also lose half your money or all of your money if you don't manage it well. So what is the best practice based on my experience and AI analysis? Well, the name of the game certainly is risk management and understanding your risk tolerance. The recommendation is to not risk more than 5% of your high-risk portfolio and to maybe consider 2 or 3 days out till expiration and then having an option just in the money, such as 55 delta. Still a high-risk, high-reward combination, but it is designed to keep you in the game when you have losing streaks. And you will have losing streaks, losing 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row. It depends on many factors. Anything can happen overnight. And sometimes it's not the market that was wrong or the signal that was wrong. It was just our execution. So we have to prepare for all scenarios. There are many advantages to overnight swing trading, such as that high risk, high reward scenario, kind of like day trading without staring at the screen all day. And it also helps to take the emotions out of the trade with just one trade overnight. You can't jump in and mess up your trade or make bad decisions purely based on emotion. There are advantages and disadvantages to every type of trading. I like overnight swing trading. What about you? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.